Hi there, welcome back. We are set up here to continue our work on the my plans for my self challenge with the Edwardian lady to make a sort of an all sorts Edith book. So it will be Edith Holden in the book, but it's not necessarily going to be an in memoriam kind of thing. It's just going to be, oh, isn't that a nice photo? And then if you really know the background behind it, oh, that's got something to do with Edith. Anyhow, I kept looking at this cover yesterday after we parted, and I'm thinking I'd like to try and play with this spine a bit before I'm ready to cover it up. I would like to see if I can restore a bit of the red. It's kind of orangey, as you can see, which happens a lot with old books. They get put upright onto a shelf and the spines fade and the covers themselves stay relatively the color that they were. This one's not as bad as I've seen some. I've seen some go completely, like, where on earth did that color come from? The sun just, obviously poor pigments were used in the dyes, or who knows. Now, so what I'm thinking I want to do, and I guess I should have cleaned up before I turned on my camera, but the best laid plans. My plan right now is I've decided if I don't have to, I don't want to cover up the spine. I've actually completely, that's going to be my fallback. But if I can, I actually would like to cover these two things up. Maybe this with a faux library number, and up here, we'll see. I would just like to get rid of the oranginess of it and restore a bit of the redness. Now, I don't want to use any of my brushes and sponges that I have going right here. I usually keep my ink, my distress applicators in the family of dark browns and light, dark and light. But red is a whole nother family. So I think this book is worth it to raid my stash, and I thought for sure I had a bigger one of these. Oh, hold on. I've got some more over here. What else do I have? I forgot about you. Oh, I think you or linen. You might work rather than opening up. All I have is this one that's unopened of makeup brushes. I like to always have a few ready to go. It's the year storage Catherine that used to live in my past still haunts me, and so I always like to have at least one of my go-to gear that I need ready to go. So things like 3-in-1. I've always got at least 2 more unopened bottles on my shelf. Glue sticks, that sort of thing. And it's the same with my ink applicators. And I also like to have ready to go at least 1, even 2 unopened ink packages, ink pads. So, I think this was from it looks so pale. I bet I used it with antique linen. Yeah, there's nothing in it anymore. If anything, I've cleaned it very well. I've been using a smaller one for my antique linen. What I do is here's a little handy hint for you. As soon as I can find it, there we go. White Sharpie, and I just write, if it's a specific brush that I don't want to muck up, I will write on it. I found that it was better to put it up here after putting it down there because I store them upright, and what good did that do? So I write there usually what it is. Oh, look, there's that one's black, and I have my twigs somewhere, gathered twigs. I find now with my gathered twigs one, I can use it interchangeably with any of my darker browns, and it's quite fun. So there you go. There's a little handy hint for you. If you use these as well, and you're wondering what was the last ink I used with that, and you also don't necessarily wash them all the time, I think I'm going to use this one. And then I think I'm also going to have to hit Dollar Tree and get myself some more brushes because I only have this one little tiny one. You used to be able to get them in packs of 3, and then I think they figured us crafters out. I think they did. And now you have to buy them separately. It's still a good deal. So I have 2 different inks that I'm thinking of gently applying to this spine and seeing if we can get the red a little bit richer. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm still also going to be using some darker brown, probably acorn, and distressing around the edges and making it look a little grungy in that way. I'm thinking this is deceiving. It's not that candy red when you use it. It's a really nice red. I believe I used this one. Let's move you over. Let me show you. It's deceiving. It's a nice warm red. Let's get that off. What did I have on it? Oh, it said twigs. Oh, well. This one is red geranium, and it's a really nice red as well. I'm tempted to try the archival ink first because it's permanent. I'll lift this up in a second. It's less orangey, and this already is quite orangey. So I think I'm going to go with this one. But I do love the red brick. Of all things, the oxide for stamping, and I don't particularly enjoy Tim Holtz oxide distress inks. I find they leave a film. You can feel it for a long time later, and it makes a mess of other pages. I'm not a fan. But I'm also not the kind of artist yet who likes to do the drips and dribbles with water, which it's cool for. All right, we are going to, and then I'm going to need to label it because this is going to be red. Let's see. Go gentle first and see if we can make this a little nicer red. than what it was. I've done this before with distress inks, especially on brown covers. Yeah, that's going to work. Hold on. So there's, I promised I'd lift that up. And maybe I did and I've forgotten. I don't know. It's early. So archival ink, oxide ink. I like them both. Yes, that's going to work. I hope you can see the difference between where I have inked and where I'm going to keep going. Let's just put this here for now. I don't think it's a big deal if I get some on there, but I'm not going to worry too much about the gold and trying to avoid it. I don't mind if some red ink gets on that gold. Again, right now this is glaring at me because it's laid out flat. And once there's a text block in it, the difference in color is not going to be as apparent because it's not going to be laid out flat anymore. I don't have a lot of color selection in my inks that I use for distressing and for stamping, and I seem to use them interchangeably. Mostly shades of brown. Antique linen is very handy to have. Mostly, yeah, varying shades of brown. But I do have a few colors that once in a while, if I'm going to resort to a color, I like to use, as in the red. And also, especially lately, this is my favorite green. This VersaFine. It's called Shady Lane, if you're interested. It's just a lovely, lovely ink pad. It's nice and juicy, but not too juicy. And it's really nice. It's not too much of a candy green. It's my new favorite green. I've said that before, but in case you're new. So hopefully this works. We will save the spine as is. I'm going to blend a bit and then just fade it out. Yeah. And then we will also add some brown to this. We have the wackiest weather going on up here, but I mean, tell that to the world. I'm not complaining, but today apparently we will be going up to 29 Celsius. I am at the point now where I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Some things my brain has switched over between Fahrenheit and Celsius, and some things it hasn't. I still don't know what a fever is in Celsius. I know 98.6 from my mommy days. My mommy days, I knew the Fahrenheit fever. Yeah, that looks nice. Anyhow, so apparently today by this afternoon, we should be expecting 29. But by Monday, it'll be back down to 10, which is normal for this time of year for us. For April, 29 is not normal. Oh my goodness, that is, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. Wowie, that's close. Is that just muck on there? That's just muck. And I even cleaned it. Oh, it's dust. It's not muck. Part of me was tempted to just start doing that, but I don't want to. Sometimes there's sort of a slightly oily finish to inks, and I don't want to have a blob of an oily finish. I don't mind blending a little here and there, but not smack dab in the middle. But I do anticipate that there's going to be some kind of artwork here and a book plate, as I am prone to do when I make an all sorts book. But this will be my first Edith all sorts book. Just going to keep layering this on for a few minutes. I'm seeing a little candy red coming through here, so I will be going in with some brown. Left it overnight under bricks and leaning over the edge of my desk, and I'm very happy with the spine. I'm doing a new thing with this book. I figure, you know, if it's good enough for Nick and Nancy, it's good enough for me. I'm trying contractor grade masking tape in there because the hinges were quite good. The paper in this book, crap, but the cover itself is quite good. All right, now paper towel. Let's see what's loose. So, you know what? If you can't trust Nick and Nancy, who can you trust in this industry? If you're wondering what it is, I get it over at Home Depot. It's contractor grade. And if you read the small print somewhere in there, because I can't read it right now without a magnifying glass, if you leave it on longer than 72 hours, I think it is, it becomes permanent. And you won't get it off. It's in Spanish. It's strong adhesive. Remove within 3 days. Do not use with lacquer on wood floors or other delicate surfaces. Well, we're tough. We're not delicate. That's not bad. Very good. All right, I am going to... So I think it's quite evident I've used red on that, but I will put it aside and label red. So it looks like now I've got my red brush. So I wonder if I should go in with the big guns or go in with a milder gun of ink. This is acorn. This is potting soil. I'm going to do potting soil. Here's where I will really use what I have labeled twigs. It should just say brown ink. Brown ink. If the ink pad is brown, feel free to use it. So I just want to go around the edges, I think, and just give it a little dimension. And especially those headers and the header and the footer. And I may still sandpaper it a bit because sometimes aging things, it actually goes white. It doesn't go darker. It goes, the wear and tear on fabric, on book cloth, goes white, like here on these corners. But in the case of this spine, I want it pretty. Yeah, that's better. It's lost that candy. I don't know if you can tell, but the brown has toned down the candy red. The white, it was making it pull. Oh, I'm using words from my hairdresser days. How many times I had to say, you know, if we use this, you're going to pull red. And they'd go, huh? And then I'd have to explain in non-hairdresser terms what I was talking about. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. Don't worry. Be happy. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad I have a before picture. I want a skinny one. I bet that's black. That is black. I wonder if I could use black with brown. Is there any black still on this? Oh, on my nude amount. I just want to get into that groove. Oh, that was a little darker than I expected. I'm going to be a little more gentle. I'm still dealing with little chunks of the black from the spine liner. The decaying spine liner was black, and there's still little fibers of black floating around my desk. I need to just mention it once to my husband. He'll be up here with his little handheld Dyson. I think he's got a Dyson in 3 different sizes. He's wonderful. The universe handed me a gift with that man. He loves his vacuum cleaners, and he's got a vacuum cleaner for every job. You got a job that needs vacuuming? He's the man. We did it! We did it! Oh! Okay, I'm really excited. So now I've got to decide what it is that I'm going to cover this with. I don't mind losing that middle black stripe. So I'm open to just putting a little piece of artwork here, which I've done before. When I did the four dictionaries, I put a little piece of artwork onto on the spines, and that can look very pretty. And then putting a library label on there, and then that'll be covered. Or else I'm also open to putting some labels here. Like I'm thinking about possibly, and I'm going to tell you now because in case I get it done off camera, as we get 30 minutes together and then I get back to work, I'm thinking of, since I already have several copies of this, of using just that where it says Edith Holden and either putting it down there or putting it across there. Just her signature. Again, it's Don't be thinking, Catherine, you're turning it into an homage. No, I'm not. I'm not. I promise. But we do have to give her a little tip of the hat every once in a while. The author will be getting no hat tips. I didn't like what he had to say about us girls. But Edith will get hat tips. So there we go. Thanks for joining me today. Hopefully, so I didn't have to get into this or this. Hopefully, tomorrow I will be able to turn on my camera and get a little bit more done and show you what else I finished for because I've still got the day ahead of me. So I will get further along. The next time you see this cover, it'll be really, really different. And I may have begun to start gathering together signature papers. If it's a 2-inch spine, I am anticipating, usually they would say 1 per 1/4 inch, which would be 8. I'm anticipating at least 11 signatures, maybe 13. I like to work in uneven numbers for signatures. So at least 11, maybe 13 for a 2-inch spine. Probably 13. Alrighty. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll get together soon. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe the next day. Bye.